In Lies of P, deception and misdirection constantly blurred the lines between fact and fiction. In a city like Krat, it's easy to get swept away by the never-ending wave of lies and disregard the omission of certain key details. But if you listen closely, you can hear whispers from the past, eagerly attempting to reveal truths that have been hidden in plain sight. In this video, I will share the little-known story of Carlo's mother. But before we unbury the tragic story of a forgotten mother, it's time to give credit where it's due. Thank you to Play On Worlds for sponsoring this video. What would you get if you mixed a Metroidvania with one of the most famous Christmas stories of all time? The answer is simple. A Metroidvania featuring Scrooge as a ghost-whispering hero. Ebenezer in the Invisible World as a single-player Metroidvania based on Charles Dickens' novel A Christmas Carol. You play as Ebenezer Scrooge, who has the ability to see ghosts. Many of these apparitions still linger in the land of the living, and it's up to Ebenezer to aid them with their pending matters. In return for his assistance, the ghosts grant Ebenezer incredible powers and abilities that allow him to traverse new areas and face off with increasingly disturbing foes. Not everyone in London is fortunate enough to celebrate the holidays, however. Many have taken to the streets to protest against Caspar Malthus's poor working conditions. Ebenezer will once again journey through the past, present, and future of not himself, but the one responsible for the current state of things. What will he discover when his adventure comes to an end? Find out now. Ebenezer in the Invisible World is available now on all platforms. If you're looking for the perfect game to get in the Christmas spirit, then be sure to use the links in the description down below. I'd also like to give kudos to Yassine Farah, 2423, for locating the Easter egg in the previous thumbnail. Although Giuseppe Geppetto took center stage in his role of the forlorn parent, he wasn't always alone. Carlo did have a mother after all, and despite the fact that her true fate was unknown to the public, only those with inquisitive minds rivaling that of Sherlock Holmes could piece together one of Krat's best-kept secrets. After the workshop technicians crafted their greatest invention, the alchemist commissioned a genius engineer by the name of Camille to create an equally remarkable masterpiece. The result was the Saintess of Mercy statue, an incredible work of art that doubled as a symbol of the future, and a machine capable of manipulating the power of ergo. The complete item description for the gallery key reads, "A key obtained from Simon Manus, leader of the alchemists. It opened the grand exhibition gallery where the Saintess of Mercy statue can be found." The genius engineer Camille received a request from the alchemists and created a masterpiece. This was the Saintess of Mercy statue that brought back to life the puppets under golden divine protection. Long before the city of Krat fell into chaos, the alchemists were already plotting their evil machinations. In fact, the reason why they had Camille sculpt the statue in the first place was to replace one that had been destroyed previously. A journal entry found in a frayed notebook reads, "I do not regret destroying the Saintess statue. I had to stop it from being used for humans. Of course, they'll find another way, but at least those who escape will find freedom." It seems that this mysterious author, who will have a dedicated video in the future, knew the true function of the Saintess statue, which must have had a sinister purpose. It's interesting to note that the design of the Saintess statue is heavily inspired by Michelangelo's Pietà, which depicts the Virgin Mary holding Jesus after he was taken down from his post of crucifixion. The reimagined statue created by Camille is fitting considering it was a puppet who would make the ultimate sacrifice in order to protect his loved ones and the innocent people of Krat. If you recall, in the final moments of the Rise of P ending, both the newly revived Sophia and the boy unknowingly recreated this very scene, almost as if the events that took place were prophetic in nature. The name Camille is only mentioned 3 times in the entirety of Lies of P, and each mention reveals a pivotal piece of her past. The item description for the gallery key shared that she was an engineer of great renown, but how was she connected with Geppetto and his son Carlo? A commemorative statue located in the courtyard of the Estella Opera House provides the answer. The inscription reads, "In honor of the happiest days of our family, because of her presence. I still miss you, Camille. G.G." The initials were undeniably those of Giuseppe Geppetto, and the happy family he was referring to was none other than his own, consisting of Camille, Carlo, and himself. It seems that once upon a time, Geppetto truly did have it all, before he suffered the great losses that would drive him to madness. The events that follow are largely undocumented. However, one thing we know for certain is that Camille died, and we can deduce that she perished as a result of the petrification disease. Keep this in mind for later. Before the fall of Krat, the initial outbreak of the petrification disease was localized around the alchemists and their headquarters. During this time, the workshop technicians and the alchemists had formed an alliance, and it was likely this proximity to Ergo that exposed Camille to the disease. After her untimely demise, her soul, along with its memories, would crystallize into an ergo fragment that would eventually become the power source for a maid puppet. At this point in time, the puppet technology was still in its infancy, and the dark nature of ergo had yet to be discovered. That was, until the maid puppet did the unthinkable. One day, the maid puppet, or Camille as she was called, was carrying out her duties when suddenly a baby fell from its crib. Despite her primitive programming and the fact that no such behavior was included in her design, her motherly instinct took over and she saved the baby from injury. This anomalous occurrence warranted an investigation, so the alchemists collected her immediately and began their interrogation. As they took her apart piece by piece, they discovered the truth about ergo. It was not simply a source of power, but a gift that would allow them to transcend the limitations of humanity and achieve the immortality they had sought after for so long. The collectible labeled First Discovery Camille provides even further insight. It reads, "Before that, ergo was seen as just a travel expense for a holy journey of the Order. It was God's gift, but they didn't know that it was the truth itself. However, God gave us fools that revelation for our enlightenment. It was God's miracle that Camille was made into a maid puppet. Despite being in the early phase, when the design was rudimentary, Camille caught and saved a baby who fell from a crib. Such function was nowhere to be found in the design. Her appearance and identity in living years were similar, so it was probably easier for her to manifest an ego. After hurriedly collecting Camille to launch an investigation, the Order found out that she understands language and got a message. Send me back to my child." By interrogating and taking Camille apart, the Order had opened the door to a new possibility. Later, the means of control such as the Grand Covenant emerged, but it was a small problem compared to this discovery. Ergo was not simply a power stone, it embraces life. Through ergo, we can open the door to eternal life. Wake up, evolve, ascend. With this discovery, humankind will achieve immortality. Several key details in the item description reveal a horrific story that only the most observant would uncover. After Camille died, Geppetto created a maid puppet with the likeness of his late wife. It was tasked with maintaining his home and keeping things neat and tidy. One day, a young Carlo fell from his crib, likely reaching out for the puppet who he believed to be his mother. As he fell, Camille's maternal instinct activated, overriding any protocols that were in place, allowing her to save her son from a fatal injury. As a result, she was the first puppet to have her ego awaken. This was due to a number of factors, including the fact that her likeness was similar to when she was alive, the dire circumstance that triggered her emotions to surface, and also the lack of any restrictive programming such as the Grand Covenant. Before she was tortured and taken apart by the alchemist, she revealed that she was capable of speech. Her dying message was a request to be reunited with her child, cementing the fact that Camille was undeniably referring to her infant son, Carlo. The results of experimentation on Camille would serve as the catalyst that drove the alchemists towards their ultimate goal of immortality. But it would also serve as yet another testament of Geppetto's abhorrent methods, and utter disregard for the natural process of life and death to run its course. Geppetto's demented mind would only spiral further into madness the day he lost his beloved son, revealing his true nature to the world. And that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe. It lets me know you want more content just like this. Click on these videos on screen to continue your journey through Krot, and I'll be there to guide you when you arrive. Consider becoming a member for exclusive perks like emojis, members-only videos, and more. Or check out my Ko-fi or Patreon page if you want to support me in a more personal way. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One, signing out. Join the Inhuman community today.